What's going on, guys? Today's video is going to cover the upcoming update and the rebalancing for Outriders. Stay tuned. Okay, so here you can see the main post regarding the new update. Lots of changes are coming, and I'm going to go over them all in this video. The game's first big patch is scheduled for next week, as you can see here. And they said, as of today, the deployment of this patch is scheduled for next week, as we are using this week to identify as many severe problems as possible, fix them, and then thoroughly test the changes across all platforms. Submission through platform holders adds on a little bit of time as well, which is why we are not able to deploy this patch any earlier. The patch includes a wide variety of changes regarding bug fixes and multiplayer stability as well, such as fix the HUD disappearing in certain cases, bugs that interfere with players respawning in multiplayer expeditions and getting stuck on geometry such as while using gravity leap or falling out of the world. They are also making a big change to matchmaking by changing the default setting to closed instead of open. The reason this is so important is because not everyone wants to play co-op or aren't ready to play right then and there, such as being AFK or whatnot. With everyone's setting being open, it's overwhelming the matchmaking system and drastically slowing down queue times. Those who wish to do co-op can change their individual setting, and thus the matchmaking will only include those who are actively seeking other players instead of everyone, which will greatly reduce queue times. This will also fix the crossplay issues between console and PC. Some crash fixes include fixing the multiplayer crash that could result in players having their inventory wiped, the crash while completing the side quest A Bad Day, the crash that occurs in No Man's Land where your language magically changes to Spanish, crashing on launch, and many other random fixes here and there. They go on to say, we are confident that these fixes will address the majority of crashes reported, as there are only a handful of root causes, but the crashes they generate appear in a number of places. Regarding the inventory wipe specifically, they said, we believe that the rate of this bug appearing should be greatly reduced once the upcoming patch has been published. With crash fixes in place, we intend to run a one-off mass restoration. The restoration will be happening in the coming weeks and will restore epic and legendary items only. Note that there is no guarantee that all items can or will be restored, or that they'll have the exact same stats as before. Also, items that never actually made it into your inventory, i.e. you crashed before you hit an autosave, will more than likely be lost because there won't be a record of them ever having been in your inventory in the first place. The restored items will appear in your inventory and should not interfere with anything else that's currently in your inventory at the time of the restoration. As a sorry for having to deal with this BS, and thank you for sticking with us, they're giving us a community appreciation package. All players who played the game between March 31st and April 11th will receive a free gift. Your highest level character will receive a level appropriate legendary weapon, a level appropriate amount of titanium, and a new emote specifically for us called Frustration, which, let's face it, that's very fitting. Note that these are subject to change and the exact release has not been announced. Now, let's move on to balancing. There have been several changes to many aspects of the game to make it more balanced and streamlined across the board, such as changes to the Historian, Wanted, and Hunter side quest chains. These will no longer grant legendaries for each subsequent completion. You can still get legendaries from them, of course, but now it's more fair and can't be exploited via the multiplayer bug like before. Loot tables have also been adjusted for certain hunt mobs like the Tuka Beast, the Split Tooth, Sand Shifter, and Cold Claw. They stated that these particular beasts are being too generous considering the required effort to take them down. Changes to expeditions and weapons are coming as well. For expeditions, they're reducing the completion timers for Chemplant and Boomtown to make them more in line with the others. Chemplant has been reduced from 957 seconds down to 650 seconds for gold, and Boomtown has been reduced from 422 seconds down to 390 for gold. Regarding weapons, they've changed the crit rating damage multiplier on both assault rifles and marksman rifles. Assault rifles have been dropped down from 175% to 165%, and marksman rifles have been dropped down from 300% to 250%. Note that the duration of the Massacre AP buff will be reduced to 3 seconds, though this is only temporary until they can fix the issue with the stacking cap. Now, it's time for that thing everyone has been talking about, the class balancing. They've tweaked the bullet abilities for the Trickster, Technomancer, and Pyromancer. There was a bug that caused massive imbalances and made the bullet abilities vastly outperform other skills. Note that these abilities could still be tweaked or changed again as time goes on until the balancing is where it should be and where it was meant to be. For the Trickster, Twisted Rounds has had its cooldown increased to 25 seconds from its previous 16 seconds. They've also made changes to the Trickster's hero tree. Disruptive Firepower, Scion of Power, and Outrider Executioner have all had their power reduced from 50% down to 35%. For the Technomancer, aside from the Blighted Rounds change, they've also tweaked the hero tree by changing damage against poison's power, which has been reduced from 30% down to 15%. The same is true for the Pyromancer, which has had its Trial of Ashes extra damage reduced from 30% down to 15%. So what do you guys think of the new changes? Do you like them? Do you hate them? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, drop me a like and consider subscribing so you never miss a video. As always, thank you all for watching and have a great day. Later.